All right, it's January 15th, 2022. The Toronto Raptors are taking on the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's another showdown of Raptors-Bucks, which has been a storied rivalry over the last few years. And in this game, we have Giannis and Siakam both dropping 30. Siakam takes over in the fourth quarter. But first, I mean, these refs. I mean, what's going on here? Siakam gets 2 of his rebounds taken away. I mean, there's just crazy shit happening every time the Bucks and the Raptors play each other. I mean, look at this shit. So OG's going to kick the water bottle onto the court, probably an accident. Water bottle girl runs over, and I don't know here. My man gets a good handful right here, but I'm going to say that's a violation. Get her a couple of free throws and maybe a lawyer.
And believe me, the settlement will be profound.
We played each other in December. Of course, we had the refs detaching from reality in the final seconds of the game. And we had, a couple weeks ago, the final 33 seconds took 8.5 minutes to play. I mean, I think these refs are into the spread more than Scottie and Gary. Giannis overshoots the layup here, and I mean, how could you not? Look at those fucking delts. Like, what is this guy doing on the military press? This ball just must feel like air to him. He probably doesn't even feel it in his hand. And I mean, this is how you guard Giannis, because Giannis is good at pretty much everything on the court, except making decisions. Giannis in the paint is kind of like when 5 people are out and nobody can really decide on a restaurant. And then you just have these drives where he looks like Pascal against the Celtics a couple years ago. And speaking of Pascal, it's he who took over in this one. Here he's got Grayson Allen, a guard up at the top here, and just pretends to go right, gives him a little spin, step backward over Bobby Portis. Now Fred dishes over, shoots 3 right over Giannis's head. And now he's going to just absolutely cook George Hill here. Bites, up, swish, and the rare exotic animal collector George Hill is just there, kind of frozen. Just like the animals whose brains he puts a bullet through. It's the final dagger that seals the W.
Pascal Siakam. Now, y'all heard him? Triple-double. Top one. Look at the man. Pascal Siakam.
All right, it's February 16th, 2022. Raptors are taking on the Wolves, and Pat Beverley is going to get cooked off a unfortunate camera angle for the NBA Vagabond, and we have Cat here, like licking his neck, like a cat, I guess would do. Jump ball here. Things get a little testy between Patrick Beverley and Gary Trent Jr. and he gets a lecture from the Tony brothers, who try to set him straight. We know the personnel. We know what we're dealing with here. And now this Dame slapped Gary's nuts. Cam Payne had the meltdown when Gary had the and one. And Bobby Portis gave Gary a really nasty elbow to the head for no. It was just, Gary seems to kind of resurrect some kind of dormant being inside of people that causes them to do kind of crazy things. So here's Gary. Patrick Beverley strips him. Gary actually came out hot, but I'm gonna get into Siakam's kind of role in all this, because he had a number of great plays against Beverley. But here, Gary just after the kind of bad playmaking, he gets it to Siakam and just is like, fuck it, you handle it, you take care of it. And Patrick Beverley, great pass to Pascal, who passes it to Scottie in the open floor, over to OG, and Kem Birch botches the 4-on-2. Patrick Beverley with the ball at the point guard here, and sees Siakam and just panics, throws it right to OG. Pascal with the ball here against Beverley. He's backing him down a little bit. Patrick Bev tips it, and he's doing some kind of like kayaking gesture here. I'm not really sure what he's getting at, but he's extremely frustrated. We got bad camera work here. They kind of missed this, but at least we saw Fred and Malachi sitting next to each other. That was nice. But here's the play here that everybody's talking about. They're clapping. They don't really know what's happening here. But anyway, so Patrick Beverley calls for the ISO. 1-on-1 with Siakam, who just goes right by him. Nice little floater over Cat. And Pascal just is chirping. He's like, fuck yeah, Pat. Fuck you, Pat. And Raptors come up with the W in this one. And I got the first quarter, most of the first quarter. It's on Patreon, just with the full commentary. It's like 18-minute video. Just uploaded it.
You look at someone like PJ Tucker, obviously defensively, plays with so much energy, believes that he can get from point A to point B, and he believes that no one can beat him, and he's tough.
All right, it's October 26, 2022, Raptors, Sixers. Always a beefy game between these two teams, and Pascal Siakam is going to come out on a mission to physically, mentally, spiritually abuse PJ Tucker in a way that I haven't really seen before. I mean, left PJ just struggling to play basketball. We got Doc Rivers in this one. He had a fun summer, and assistant coach, he always looks like he's about to get punched. We got Siakam, you know, getting his hands warm here. He's locking in. He's taking his clothes off. And we've got not only PJ Tucker in this one, but also bubble legend Daniel House and, of course, James Harden forming this trio of Maury Rockets 2.0. And Scottie and Boucher having some good, clean fun before the game here, which, I don't know, makes OG kind of jealous. And Scottie notices this, immediately goes over to his guy to reassure him, and starts what looks to be an immortal meme, but instead TSN changes cameras to a stationary Nick Nurse sitting in a chair. So we got Nick in this one, Earl's in this one. But anyways, Pascal Siakam. So surprising amount of these are going to be threes. So Gary's over to Fred. Fred tosses it over to Siakam. PJ Tucker's not even putting his hands up on these shots, just admiring the view. Pascal playing point forward, just pulls right up.
That's you?
Showing him no respect, really. Here he goes under the screen. Siakam's just like, all right, you know, slow-ass closeout. Siakam hits the three. And he's letting him know, you know. He's letting him know.
Ball hog.
And so Precious going to operate on Harold. No, he's not. He's going to throw it over to Pascal Siakam. Koloko sets the screen. So Siakam's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this one where he's going to go under the screen and leave me open. And then I'm just going to, get a little bit of room here.
You can't stop me. I'm P-skills.
And his Precious driving in. Throws it over Siakam. Again, PJ Tucker's hands aren't even up, really. And Siakam, I mean, credit to him. He's releasing it really quickly. The bench loves it. Lana loves it. Flynn loves it. Siakam gives him the Steve Nash eyes. Siakam appears to be doing some kind of hypnosis here. Couldn't really read the lips. All the other lip reads were 100% accurate, of course, but the ref's kind of just dribbling the ball here. He's kind of having fun with it. And all of this kind of left PJ Tucker strangely unable to play basketball, really. Here he just fumbles a pass in the corner where he kind of lives, so you hope he'd get that pass. And here's Harden's going to throw it over to Tucker, who misses the three, rims out, and then can't catch up to Scottie Barnes in transition. And PJ Tucker in the corner. I think that was a double dribble, but, you know, nobody saw it. Misses that one. And James Harden operating a little bit. PJ Tucker just gets fucking blocked by Kem Burge. And he's just shook now. I mean, he's missing a layup here. He's missing the putback. He's just flopping and flailing around trying to get a bucket.
Tucker, Doc just has him out there guarding Siakam on an island. We might have to make a switch there or make an adjustment.
Respect to Earl for saying hi to me at training camp in Victoria. Despite being on his phone, you know, I was eating a sandwich. He was talking on his phone, but I still managed to ask him about David Johnson's jump shot. Full documentary incoming soon.
Is that David Johnson?
All right, it's April 7th, 2022. The Raptors are taking on the Sixers, and Pascal Siakam is going to have his most dominant game of the season here. 37 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists. And so Danny Green gets his ring here. He's really fired up for the game. He's bouncing up and down. He was shooting threes all night. He was crazy. He was Tobias Harris didn't do too much. And Niang's, he got cooked by Pascal a couple of times. He kind of has Mad Hatter vibes on, just my opinion. James Harden, pretty fired up for this one, and he was balling out. He got into the paint a couple times in the game. And, you know, it's been tough for Harden. He's been switching out teams like he's Trevor Ariza, and DeAndre Jordan's like, hey, man, I've been washed before. I put a cushion down for you. James, like, get the fucking shit out of here, dude. Throws it over to Tobias Harris in the corner. He makes it, but, I mean, Harden's wide open here. It kind of... You know, we've seen this before in Philly with you know, Simmons and Tybal. And speaking of Tybal, he was ineligible for this game.
So you can take my mask off?
And it's you know, we know that Matisse only puts the best ingredients into his body. So Gary Trent Jr. had a really nice game too.
You know, NFT has been a great thing.
This was all Pascal. Third quarter was definitely the bomb quarter, but we got to look at the whole game here. He gets the three early on here, only three of the game that he got in, and a lot of here he goes over Embiid. A lot of these are just right over Embiid's head. It just didn't really matter who was there again with Embiid. So here's got Danny Green, former teammate, takes it in, and here we have some foreshadowing from the Sixers commentators.
And a whistle as Siakam drove towards the hoop.
Make him a finisher.
Don't bail him out. I want to see whether or not he's capable of knocking down and making difficult shots.
Well, aren't you in luck, Tobias Harris? I mean, just making it look easy here. He's got Embiid. He looks at him, give a couple stutter steps right over his head. Just, doing this just calmly murdering the Sixers here. Doc Rivers is kind of perplexed. Again, he takes Reed. Little floater right through into the paint here. Now we're in the fourth quarter. Again, Embiid. Oh, shakes him. Little spin move. And that's not even the best move against Embiid. It gets worse for Joe Wild. Here's Pascal. He's at the top here. He's got the ball. Again, he's doing kind of a lot of point in this game. And lately he's been kind of playing this role. So he gets Embiid. This is the clip everybody was kind of talking about here. Gets him just completely flying in the air. Pascal with a nice little finger roll, the nice little Gervin. And Doc calls the timeout. Just is like, this is fucked. Embiid does his little Svima high look. I fucked up face. And one last play here just to kind of seal the deal here, just to put the final nail in the coffin. Gets his own rebound. Embiid can't even get that. And everybody in the crowd is, pretty fired up. And then Doc's like, well, fuck, I hope things get better.
I think I might be a genius.
All right, it's April 23rd, 2022. Game 4, Raptors Sixers. Game 3, Pascal Siakam, embarrassing performance. But he's going to come back here in Game 4 and really kind of flip everything on his Cameroonian counterpart, Joel Embiid, who had a more than frustrating night. Doc Rivers also not having a very fun night. He did the Embiid helicopter at one point. He really didn't like the refs. Jurassic Park was fired up for this one. Scottie Barnes actually checked in on a bum ankle. And speaking of bum ankles, Thad breaks Embiid's right here. Swishes it right over the head. The bench is really pumped up. Daddy Young hitting some sweet shots. And yeah, the vibes for Embiid are really about to change here. We have right after that, Embiid shoves Thad. Clearly he was pretty frustrated that he knew that was going to be a highlight reel play, and he ends up on the ground quite a few times in this game. He ends up on the ground here too. So Pascal and him kind of run into each other, a little foreshadowing for later. And yeah, this is the Embiid Raptor fans are used to, the one who's too afraid to go down a water slide, which I went down that water slide at Atlantis when I was 15, and it was a lot of fun and something no adult should be afraid of. So here's Embiid and Pascal again. Here's Embiid and OG jarring here. And this is, Embiid's really getting angry at this point, and he's gonna keep getting angry. This isn't even the pinnacle yet, but clearly he's frustrated with how the game is going. Here's Pascal banking it from 3, and Pascal really takes over in the fourth here. He has 15 points, and it really felt like he was, leading the ship. Boucher's like, sorry, man, I didn't tip that in. He's okay. And Jurassic Park is freaking out. Here he's finally, taking it to the guys like Harris and Yang, and Scottie's, just playing with his meat like everybody else watching this spectacle. And, here he kicks it back to OG. OG had a pretty off game, but he hit some critical 3. And, this is kind of the culmination here. Embiid just rams Siakam as he's calling a timeout. He's clearly very frustrated. He's very, angry. Siakam hits him with a death stare. And this is a really interesting battle within the series because, it's two all-NBA players physically really going at it. He doesn't really know what's going on. He seems to be a bit disillusioned with what's happening. Gary's like, oh, what's going on, man? Just calm down. It's okay. It's all good.
Fuck that. Good job.
And our favorite news team in Philly
at nausea
also chimed in with a little thing.
Go! Go! You can do it! You can do it! Go! 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 Leap of faith! You can do it! Oh, you're scared! Shook it out!
All right, it's February 7th, 2022. The Toronto Raptors taking on the Charlotte Hornets. And right before the game, we had LaMelo Ball announced as Kevin Durant's replacement over a guy like, say, Pascal Siakam, who happened to be playing the Charlotte Hornets right after the announcement. And I kind of predicted on Discord that maybe Pascal will have a little bit more, a little spice, a little more juice to his game. And so here's LaMelo. He's like panicking. He's like, fuck Siakam, what the fuck? Bring him over. He's too big. And then Siakam's through the legs and up. He's going to roll off a Tate here in the Rockets game the other day. And Siakam's been having some nice moves lately. So I got really stoned and was like, I'm going to try some of these out. And I think the key is you got to spin fast, right? And then you got to put your ass into the guy like that, put your ass into the guy, spin around. Little shot like that, he does this really well. He does this one off of 1 foot, and he's sometimes he stalls like that too. Kind of looks over to the corner and does a little finish like this. So he's got LaMelo again. LaMelo's like, fuck, and he goes right through LaMelo. Nice finish over the top. Now he's gonna do the same to Green, bump up, nice. And he kind of like stalls a little bit here, like on his hip, like, and then goes up. It's really effective. And sometimes he just wilds out, like, just like that. Bragg is like, Melo, can you stop being an arm flailing idiot when you're guarding Siakam and do this instead? You know, here he's little Euro step. LaMelo's like, fuck, maybe I can get a charge on this guy. It doesn't really work out. Siakam with the wide open layup. And now this is how much confidence this dude's playing with. Oubre tips it out, you know, backcourt. Siakam's like, oh, that's okay. That's cool. I'm just going to jog up here, a little jaunt, and just go and pull up and right over Oubre, who isn't used to seeing threes go in. And this Raptors W. All right, so February 14th, 2023, Raptors Magic, and it's Valentine's Day. And, you know, this can be an emotional day for a lot of people. And it was for Mo Wagner. So who else we got in this one? Suggs falls like he does in the draft. Fuck. And Jonathan Isaac, on the other hand, is standing up, always on brand, rocking a Judah shirt in Jordan font, very creative. Bull gets his shot blocked. He's going to jail for that. This kid's having a lot of fun. But you know who's not having a lot of fun is Mo Wagner. He is... So yeah, Mo's fired up for this one. Look at this moving screen here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps. And he's feeling himself. He's pounding his chest, being like, I'm a big boy. It's a Porsche, you feel me? And then I love this here. He hits the free throw, and I just got to make sure Siakam doesn't touch it, so he goes in and just grabs it. Got to keep the juice alive. But the fun would be short-lived. So a little Yakin skills PNR here, a little switch. Wagner's on Siakam here. And a foul, actually, it was an offensive foul on Pascal. It was maybe a little bit greasy on Pascal, and Wagner... is not pleased. And then on the bench here, Wagner, look at him there, man. He's pumped up, standing up like he's Jonathan Isaac. And again, he's just like, he's so fired up. He actually comes out onto the court. He gets teed up, and now everything just starts spiraling out of control. Gonna throw it over to Suggs. This is the ugliest pick and roll I've ever seen. I don't know what they're doing here, Suggs and Wagner, but Thad picks it up anyways. And here we got a little pass between the Wagner brothers here. Kanye's trying to get them on Donda, that loves their grandfather's Valkyrie joint. Here's Franz. Throws it over, and you know, there's just, you know, they have DNA related, but they don't have a ton of chemistry on them. And he's gonna get cooked here by not only Thad but Pascal as well. That he's got the ball at the top here. Few passes over to Siakam. Boom. Ankles broken. Slides back. Collapses like the Berlin Wall. Thad in the corner here, just behind the back. Cooks Maurice. Raptors go on to win the game on Valentine's Day. All right, it's October 27th, 2023. Raptors Bulls, third quarter here. Siakam's having a rough night, guarded by a much smaller Alex Caruso. Pretty much every possession, and Scottie's going to scream to get him the ball under the basket.
Good chance. You got him playing power forward now.
Caruso's only 6'5", but it doesn't work out, so he tries to do it himself. And it goes out of bounds off of Caruso. So then kind of poetic off the inbound, Scottie does something that Siakam really wasn't doing much of this game and just shoots over the much smaller Caruso's head. And, you know, why is this important? Like, why is getting Siakam important? Because it's been a really underutilized dynamic here in the Raptors. Struggling half-court offense, and nothing displays it better than Siakam and Precious just doing whoever the fuck knows on the perimeter on a multitude of plays, you know, including some of like the most important moments down the stretch of a game that went to overtime. So Precious is going to set a screen for Dennis here, and he gets the ball back, and Siakam, and then Precious, Siakam, screen, not screen. Siakam gets Caruso, a little screen there, back out, gets the much taller Vucevic on him, and decides to drive on the much taller Vucevic, doesn't get the bucket. Here's Dennis over to Siakam. Siakam's got Caruso on him again. Precious comes, kind of screens, kind of doesn't. Okay, now we're going to screen. Siakam, where's Precious? Okay, I'm going to throw it to DeRozan, who's going to take the ball down the floor, and yeah, that's not great. And here Dennis is going to drive, throws it over to Precious, into Siakam. I mean, these guys need to smoke a joint together or something because the chemistry is off. And, of course, what happens again, DeRozan goes down, Vucevic over to White. Siakam on White, finds Vucevic at the top. Precious isn't there, and three-pointer for Vuce, wide open. Here we got Siakam on Caruso again. Precious, as he kind of set the screen, kind of not. Okay, he's going to go over there. Then Siakam back over to Precious. You know, 30 seconds left in a very close game. Misses the three, bobbles the offensive rebound. These were key moments in the game. And Caruso is just haunting Siakam in this one. Like, Scottie identifies the mismatch, gets the pass in, but Siakam pump fakes on the 6'5" Colby White, giving Caruso time to help. And then dying seconds left in a 1-point game, and the refs make a call that the L2M report said was wrong.
Oh, that's
Siakam! Offensive foul!
And, hey, look, it's Siakam and Caruso. Caruso check in to see, make sure he's still alive after that flop. Helps send the game to OT, and, if this it wasn't bad enough in OT, Siakam's going to drive into traffic here, and as he's jumping, I assume for a floater, who else but Alex Caruso gets the strip, and then he takes the wide lane in transition. Nobody picks him up on the far side, which several podcasters said was fine. I know I'd be benched if I didn't take into account transition running lanes, especially down 2 in a situation where it's anything but a 3 or a foul. But regardless, who else is it but Alex Caruso to ice the game in perfect poetic fashion?
After review, it is not a goaltend. We will take off the 2 points. It'll be Toronto's ball.
Because I made her this very special gift. Okay, it's a bouquet of paper from her TV guide.
All right, it's February 9th, 2022. The Toronto Raptors are taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, this is the Patreon episode, so we're going to be looking at a bunch of games here, and we're going to kind of build up to this trick shot that Pascal does off the backboard, very Tracy McGrady style against the Thunder. That was actually when you break it down, actually a pretty high percentage play, but it's just not something you really ever see. This is like a content warning. You're going to see some very bad defense on some of these plays, and this is just to kind of show you, So you got 4 guys on the perimeter. Pascal's just going to sneak behind. So that's just kind of a disclaimer here. Pascal's going to cook a lot of people in this video. And speaking of cooking people, here's me just messing around a bit. Didn't get that one in. Pascal's inspiring. He's an inspiring player, and you want to go out there and just like. So here's Pascal when it's not going well. This is against the Celtics, and watch how like unbalanced he is. He's not vertical. He's falling over, and his brother got him into KG. Like Kevin Garnett was, the guy for the Siakam family growing up. It was the window into the NBA, and you can see that like there's a lot of Pascal's game in KG. Like out of all the 90s, 2000s power forwards, like you could probably equate it. And also we have this mixture of soccer as well in a lot of the footwork and a lot of the moves that Pascal does.
And Pascal started with soccer. He really wanted to be a soccer player. He's still really good at it. And then I guess he had his moment, where basketball became his thing.
I do, every chance I get, I tell them, what a great sport soccer is, because it truly is.
Oh yeah.
So we were thinking about playing soccer.
Absolutely, yeah. And but then I wound up being 6'3". And
even if a basketball player wants to do some cross training, that's the best sport for basketball, to do cross training, because you get your conditioning, you also get your foot speed and footwork in, which helps me out a lot.
And like as someone who had, very formal, you could even call it old school basketball coaching growing up as a kid, like you can tell that Pascal didn't have that, and that he kind of learned in these unconventional ways. And, I was always taught like, elbow and knee on a string when you go up to finish, and Pascal doesn't finish that way. His is much more of an extension. He's not getting his power from the same places that coaches would normally teach. And so, it's actually, obviously getting that coaching at a young age is an advantage, but he's used his situation and his story to kind of facilitate this more unconventional way of playing. So here's a good contrast, 2 back-to-back plays. Here's not a great shot. Again, that was against D'Lo, and you had Pat Bev there too. Like that would have been, and then here's the opposite. On balance, and here he's gonna cook. I think it's JaMychal Green, and just the verticality on a lot of these like Euro step plays are just a lot more advanced than they were a couple of years ago. And I think this is what Messiah is kind of talking about when he's saying Fred and Pascal are 27, but they can still develop. And, Siakam still has that bully ball aspect of his game as well. And kind of making this video realize just how many, there's a very KG play, just how many like facets of Pascal's, how deep his bag really is. And we're seeing now actually, here's with the offhand, calculated moves. Here again against Green, just straight up these are just, you know, plays that maybe a couple years ago he would have fallen over, he would have tripped a bit, and but he's just got a new confidence that he's playing with, and I think that a lot of it maybe came from rehab or something, or just new workouts. But his balance is so much better, and this new kind of balance and control really makes what would be kind of a ridiculous shot normally a pretty high percentage play here. Look how he's straight up, he throws it nice high off the backboard, but he just keeps his body in a very straight position. He's never out of control here. It's all very calculated. And I heard one theory that he kind of got stuck. That was one kind of common theory, that he got stuck kind of in the air, made a decision. But I actually thought, just on my eye, that looked purposeful. Also, respect to Birch for drawing Gideon just a little bit.
He wears a mask just to cover the raw flesh. A rather ugly brother with flows that's gorgeous.
Now Pascal's got to go to work, and he does. He is playing at the highest of levels. My goodness.
And you know, after making this video, it's like, why don't more people do that? You know, it's fucking, it's there. You know, it's like, why not? Tracy McFrady. Tracy McFrady. Tracy McFrady. Tracy McFrady. That last one was decent. That first one was rough.
Check back in for the West. Aaron Davis being played by Kevin Garnett. He's drawing the matchup. Davis flips it back. Shot clock out of 5 already. Down. Tracy McFrady going glass.
All right, so November 4th, 2022, Raptors, Mavs, and the Raptors are in Dallas at the American Airlines Center, and Pascal Siakam is going to slip on a wet spot on the floor, which had an uncanny resemblance to two other players slipping on this very same floor just a few nights later. Of course, everybody remembers earlier this year in the playoffs when the roof decided to leak during Game 4 of the Warriors-Mavs series. Just incredible timing. She's like,
oh my gosh, I can't believe this is like the worst thing that happened on national television.
He's like, I know. Luka's like, it's raining. What the fuck is this? He's like, hey, he's got $4.6 fucking billion, but it's all in fucking Dogecoin. Look at his fucking jeans. They're fucking ripped. You think he's buying a fucking roof? So there's a minute left here in the third quarter. Pascal Siakam's got the ball. Looks pretty innocent, you know. But if we go back 6 minutes here, like I went through this footage, there was nobody fell. This is not a Marcus Smart, you know, his ass is so sweaty, it turns into a swimming pool type scenario. Go check that video out. No, this was different. This was an unbastardized section of the floor that Pascal Siakam meets, and respect to Luka here, you know, showing a bit of love. He would have something similar happen to him in a couple nights. His legs make basically the same motion as Luka Doncic's legs on the next game here in the stadium, followed by Tim Hardaway Jr. And, you know, while Luka has about 4 to 5 career-ending injuries a game, Pascal is actually out for this one. You know, hip abductor, so is it adductor or abductor? This is adductor. He's out. So,
Mark Cuban's building, get it fixed.
What the fuck? Get a fucking roof. What are you, fucking stupid? Somebody's gonna fucking die out here.
Alright, it's December 13th, 2021, and the Raptors are taking on the very appropriately named Sacramento Kings, and the main storylines coming into tonight's game are the potential revenge games of former lottery pick and corner 3 specialist / center for the Toronto Raptors last season, Alex Len, who was of course cut for Aaron Baines. That's tough. And who could forget former Raptor and woman beater Terrence Davis II, who the Raptors shipped off last season for a 2nd round pick. But I actually want to focus on Pascal Siakam and how he really danced through the paint all night and spoiled any hopes at a memorable Alex Len revenge game, who, unlike Davis, actually was out for blood tonight. Len had some vicious dunks as he put in 16 and some like Rodman-esque rebounds. As actually all 8 of his rebounds were offensive. And to add to the drama, he was up against fellow Ukrainian heavyweight Svi Mikhailuk, who wrecked last game center at the rim. So who knows what could happen. Anyway, so Terrence Davis checks into the game for his first shift at 9:14 of the second quarter. Fred, being a great guy that he is like, just warning you, Terrence, he likes to throw the right hook. And she's just like, I'll move my head back like this. Fred's like, I got you. But for her benefit and for the Kings' benefit, actually, TD was back on the bench less than 3 minutes later, after he missed a 6-footer and got a turnover that the Raptors' new, cooler, younger, better-looking, more dateable shooting guard, Gary Trent Jr. would throw down actually right in Len's face on the other end. So Davis would end the game with just 5 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 turnovers. So pretty familiar waters. But just when it looked like the game was over, local boy Tristan Thompson checks in. And while his families can't rely on him for support, the Sacramento Kings certainly can. And he gives them a huge jolt off the bench, putting up 11 points, grabbing 11 boards in just 12 minutes, which I don't know why he wasn't in there sooner, because it actually made the game interesting for a second. And ultimately it wasn't enough, because here's Pascal Siakam just tap dancing all over the paint, on balance, making buckets, stealing the potential spotlights of bigs Alex Len and second overall pick Marvin Bagley the third. And Raptors fans will notice that Siakam is going down like a clubbed seal a lot less this year. I mean, the sights and sounds still are there at times, but he's really cleaned up that part of his game this year, and I love to see it. And I've never been a Pascal hater, but some of his sloppier drives last season did kind of become a thing of my nightmares. So it's sad, because early in his career, he was able to use this kind of like unorthodox sloppiness to get cleaner looks, as like I think slight variations in common footwork patterns that players have seen a million times are like really difficult to guard. And looking at full Tristan Thompson here, who he thinks he's about to get a spicy block, but the last second Siakam goes underhand, just kind of freezing him for a split second, which is really all you need. And so it looks like he's kind of back to making those unorthodox moves actually working in his favor. So this is nice. This is really crafty here. So Pascal's got the ball. He's got Metu on him, and he's going to end up spinning around and having a really nice shot over Alex Len. So he looks over, and Fox and Van Vliet are kind of hugging each other, and he calls for Boucher to set the screen. He's going to go over towards Alex Len, and I like Justin Champagnie. He looks like he's about to drive, so Harrison Barnes has to straddle. Pascal goes in, and now he's got a pretty good look. Metu gets back in there, but again, Harrison Barnes is kind of stuck with Champagnie, and Len just is Len.